Hello, my lovelies. Today we will read Poseidon's Prodigy Cast Adrift, written by Striker Sky. Chapter 3. I stirred in my sleep, sensing a shift in the atmosphere. A soft whisper reached my ears, and I became vaguely aware of Dionysus' presence. "I'm sorry, Percy." The words hung in the air, shrouded in sorrow, and a chill ran down my spine. My eyes fluttered open to find the dimly lit cabin, and the reality of the day hit me like a crashing wave. Dionysus stood there, a sombre silhouette against the backdrop of my uneasy dreams. "Why are you sorry?" I mumbled, the remnants of sleep clinging to my voice. Dionysus hesitated, his eyes carrying a weight I couldn't quite grasp. "Your mother," he began, and a knot formed in my stomach. I sat up, suddenly wide awake. What about my mum? Dread settled in, and I braced myself for the impending revelation. Instead of getting my question answered, Dad placed a hand over my eyes. "Sleep for now, Percy. I'll tell you in the morning." The darkness enveloped me again, and this time my dreams were filled with troubled seas and distant thunder. I got up, still groggy, as my dad came back to me. I was waiting for Mum with Dionysus, and she must have been delayed because she never came to get me. I wasn't too worried. Things happen. I got up from bed. Maybe someone had a phone or something. Dad might have one. I yawned, getting up, still in my orange Camp Half-Blood shirt. As I shuffled off, wanting breakfast, Dad was at the table. He was eating a few grapes and seemed startled once he saw me, like he didn't give me his bed last night. "Morning, Dad," I muttered. "Percy," was said with a pang. "Come eat some breakfast. I have some things I would like to discuss with you. Camp, eat here. Don't worry about camp." I pulled up a chair as some fruit were slid over to me. Not just that, but blue pancakes, blue syrup, and blueberries. There seemed to have been a lot of effort placed into this breakfast, and it was suspicious. Instead of asking why, I stuffed my face. I would worry about why I was eating so well after. Dad never put so much effort into feeding me, and I was not going to complain to the god about it. Dad ate more food, but it didn't seem like he was tasting it. He had not even touched his Coke. I finished eating, savoring the best meal I had in a while. Dad had a mouth full of blueberries, but I really needed to know. "What did you want to talk about?" He almost choked, looking around with his wild eyes scanning the area. Attempting to make a slight smile, he pushed his Diet Coke out of the way. "Percy, your mum." "What about her?" I interrupted, worried something happened. Dread settled in my stomach. Dad immediately spoke. "She's fine." I sighed in relief as he avoided eye contact. "But she wants you to stay here." "Huh?" I asked, though I had heard him clearly. "But why?" It felt as if the world was losing its color. "She thinks you would be safer here at Camp Half-Blood," he answered, and I was full of disbelief. "She wants you to be safe, Percy. Here you can be protected." "No, she wouldn't. She wouldn't leave me here." Dionysus smiled. "Come on, Percy. It will be fun. We can continue to hang out with Castor and Pollux. I'll teach you year-round. You might even be ready for a quest to go to the underworld sooner than you thought." The way he spoke, unbelievably, and the way the gods' minds worked, as if I would be happy getting a quest and forgetting all about my mum. I wanted my mum. "But I want to be with my mum," I protested, the words sounding small against the weight of the situation. Seeming to expect that answer, Dionysus spoke. "Demigods get attacked less as they get older. In a few years, why don't you visit her then?" It felt like a lie. She wouldn't want me back. Instead, It felt as if Dionysus was the one who didn't want me to go. His hand on my back, he said, "Come on, let's tell Pollux and Castor that they're sure to be happy knowing that you'll be staying." My hands were shaking. Was he lying about my mum? Was he possibly forcing me to stay? Was it just a cruel joke? I shook my head, overwhelmed by conflicting emotions. I couldn't wrap my mind around the sudden turns of events. The idea of being separated from my mum, even if it was for my safety, felt like a sharp stab to the heart. Dionysus guided me towards Castor and Pollux, who were playing a game of throwing mud at one another. "Guys, Percy has to tell you something," Dionysus announced, his tone strangely upbeat. The twins looked up, their face brightened at the sight of me. "Percy!" I hesitated, my throat feeling dry. Guys, I'm going to stay here at Camp Half-Blood." The expressions shifted from excitement to confusion. "But Percy, you were so excited to see your mom," Castor protested. Pollux looked surprised, and I could feel a lump roaming in my throat. "Yeah, but I thought it would be better for me to stay here for a while." Dionysus patted me on the back, giving me a reassuring smile. "It will be great, Percy. You have more time to train and learn. Plus, you'll be safe." I glanced at the twins, struggling to find the right words. "I'll miss my mum, but it's for the best. She isn't in danger because of me." Castor and Pollux exchanged glances, and I could see the confusion in their eyes. They didn't believe me, and right now I hardly believed myself, as I tried to force out a smile, but it wouldn't be long until I broke down into tears. As I stood there, trying to hold back the overwhelming emotions building inside me, the twins exchanged glances filled with suspicion. Castor finally spoke up, his voice laced with concern. "Percy, are you sure everything's okay?" Dionysus, still wearing a smile, chimed in. "Everything's fine, boys. Percy's making a responsible decision for his safety. It's a tough choice, but sometimes we need to prioritize." Pollux hesitated, before tentatively saying, "But Percy, you were so determined to see your mum. Something's not right." I bit my lip, feeling the tears welling up. The weight of the decision, the uncertainty about my mom, and the confusion of the twins all came crashing down on me. Dionysus tried to ease the tension, saying, "It's for the best." Another trying to keep my composure, but the internal struggle was becoming too much to bear. I excused myself, muttering I needed some time alone. I walked away. I heard the concerned voices of Castor and Pollux, but I couldn't bring myself to explain. I found a quiet spot, away from prying eyes, and let the tears flow. Mourning the sudden and unexpected separation from my mom and the life I had known. We tried to go about the day like normal, but I wanted to retire early. Castor and Pollux insisted on joining me, but I really, really wanted to be alone, and I couldn't see that. I walked back to the strawberry patch, sat behind a tree, and took a chance to cry. I didn't expect to see Castor and Pollux hounding their dad as Dionysus was trying to grow food. "Dad, you've got to be kidding," Pollux said. "Why is Percy still here when he misses his mum?" Castor asked, concerned. Dionysus hushed the boys, trying to make sure no one else heard, not knowing I was secretly listening in. I lingered in the shadows, eavesdropping on the conversation between Castor, Pollux, and their father. Dionysus glanced around, making sure no one was within their earshot, before whispering to his sons, "It's complicated, boys." "But Dad, Percy was so sad. He even cried behind the strawberry patch," Pollux protested, his concern evident in his voice. Castor added, "Yeah, he looked really upset. Why did you let him stay if he's so miserable?" Dionysus sighed. Looking torn between explaining and keeping things hushed, he knelt down, placing a hand on each of his son's shoulders. "Castor, Pollux," he sighed. "I have something to tell you, but it can never be repeated back to Percy." Dionysus whispered something to both of the boys, and their eyes got comically wide, leaving both boys stunned in silence. As Dionysus shared the secret of Castor and Pollux, I strained my ears, but the distance made it impossible to catch their hushed voices. Frustration bubbled within me as curiosity gnawed at my mind. Unable to bear the suspense, I decided to leave my hiding place and head back to my cabin. Running through the camp, I couldn't shake the feeling that something crucially was being kept from me. The twins' concerned voices echoed in my mind, and my heart pounded with a mixture of anxiety and confusion. Reaching my cabin, I slammed the door shut behind me and collapsed onto my bed. Thoughts raced through my mind as I tried to piece together the fragments of information I overheard. What was Dionysus hiding, and why did it involve me? The uncertainty clawed at me, making it difficult to focus on anything else. Dad tried to be unnaturally upbeat for me, as well as Castor and Pollux. It was scaring not just me, but a few campers who were around. Annabeth was the first one to address it directly to my face. "Mr. D has been acting strange," she said, her tone respectful, acknowledging the god's divine status. Any time I tried to ask about my mum, the subject was changed quickly, and I was offered candy by my dad and brothers. The attempts to distract me were so blatant that even Castor and Pollux' usually cheerful demeanor seemed forced. It was as if they were trying to keep me in the dark, and it only fueled my frustration. One evening I sat with them in the cabin. I couldn't contain my impatience any longer. "Guys, what's going on? Why won't anyone tell me about my mom?" Dad, Castor, and Pollux exchanged glances, and then Castor said with a nervous smile, "Hey Percy, want some candy? It's your favorite." It felt like they were deliberately avoiding my questions, and the constant distractions of streets was becoming more infuriating than comforting. As the days passed, I tried to keep up with my trying to distract myself. I found some relief. However, every sparring session, every lesson, felt hollow as the unanswered questions continued to weigh on my mind. The uneasiness in the air became palpable, and I couldn't shake the feeling that something significant was being kept from me. I was determined to get those answers now. Thank you for listening with me to me, and this was chapter 3. We will see you I will see you next week for chapter 4. Bye bye.